Okay, guys, when I say that women are our kryptonite, you know they are. When it comes to girls, we tend to get weak, and we realize that, honestly, there are some things that are just out of our control. And today's story is when basically one time in my class, everyone felt kryptonite that day. And honestly, as Superman, I couldn't even save them. But before the story starts, make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys do. And on top of that, I also go live on Kick streaming and telling these stories live. So if you guys want to watch me live tell these insane stories, go to kick.com/Bubba. Other than that, let's get straight into this insane story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today's story takes place back when I was actually in high school. This was my grade 9 year, and I remember in grade 9, I wasn't that much of a ladies' man, but at the same time, I knew my way around, you know, spitting the riz, if you know what I mean. But I remember one time, there was a girl in our school that was really, well, how do I put this? Flirtatious. Meaning that every time a guy would talk to her, they would think they have actual shot with her. Sadly, yes, I was one of those men, but that's a story for another time. Going on though, this girl one time, I'm not gonna lie, she ended up doing something that was really, I think, illegal in some places, but at the same time, I'm not really sure. To be fair, she was from Germany, so I don't know how to do things down there, but I remember one time when we were in class, we ended up getting a school project. Now, this project was for us to learn how to basically understand the lifestyle of the olden times. And by olden times, I mean like when things were really old style, you know, people rode horses, women wore corsets, and guys, well, honestly, I think a lot of us just died and just worked our lives away. But still, that was basically what we were learning. And I remember me and this girl, we ended up getting paired up in a group. And to be honest, the whole time when we worked together, I always thought she was flirting with me. But at the same time, every guy felt that way. So honestly, I kind of took it like a grain of salt every time she said something to me that was flirtatious. Going on though, I remember one time she ended up telling me, "Oh, Bubba, so like after school, like later today, do you want to like maybe like come over to my place and finish up the rest of the project? I got something really cool to show you." Sure, yeah, I'm down, is what I told her. So I remember me and her after school that day, I ended up going to her house. When I ended up texting the boys group chat that I was going to her house, they all freaked out saying, "Bro, there's no way. No one's ever entered her house before." Which, I mean, fair enough. It makes sense. But knowing I was going to be one of the first guys to actually go into her house ever since she came to her school was pretty, well, I guess high and mighty. I did kind of grow an ego from it for a bit. But then I remember when I ended up entering inside her house and we ended up going upstairs to her room to do the school project, I remember she told me, "Okay, Bubba, how much are you into role play?" I remember when she told me that, I was already kind of bricked. I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh, like, I'm pretty into it, I guess. Even though the only role play I'd actually do is Catwoman and Princess Leia. But other than that, I wouldn't really want the girl to dress into anything else. Until at that moment, I remember this girl said to me, "Okay, well, like, I'm gonna go quickly get changed. I have a really cool costume I want to show you." "Okay," is what I said, being really excited with my eggplant and my eyes, I guess. And I remember I went and sat on her bed, and I remember I ended up seeing her phone ended up vibrating a lot from a lot of guys Snapchatting her. I'm not surprised how many guys were trying to flirt with her, but honestly, it was kind of crazy to know that. And also, a lot of guys were also Snapchatting me from my school and asking, is it true that I'm really at her house? But I remember I ended up just sitting there, ignoring all of them, and I was just sitting and waiting, thinking, now is my moment. I can finally do the devil's tango with the girl that everyone wants to get with. And then something insane happens, where she ends up walking into the room with a really old school outfit, like really old. Like, I'm not joking, not even my grandma would wear this, and she's old. And she was wearing like this really interesting outfit that made no sense to me. But one thing I realized about her when I was looking at the outfit was that her body shape really turned different. Like, she had more of an hourglass body than I expected. So I remember I walked up to her and said, "How can you breathe in that thing? It looks super tight." And then that's when I realized that she was wearing a thing called a corset. Now, ladies, if you're watching this video, you guys know what a corset is. It's something that really tightens your body to the point where I don't even know how you breathe. But I remember I was looking at this outfit and I saw that, you know, the corset really made one thing pop, and that was her cherries. Her cherries were popping like crazy, to the point where, I'm not gonna lie to you, she ended up saying, "Oh, like, honestly, like, it's really tight, but I think it will do really good for our school project. I even got you an outfit." I remember she ended up handing me this like really old school style shirt that made me look like a pirate, to be honest, and these really weird pants. And I remember I ended up getting the clothing from her, and I was just holding it in my hand. She ended up telling me, well, are you gonna like put it on? I ended up looking at her and saying, yeah, sure. And at that moment, I remember I ended up putting it on right in front of her because for some reason, she literally said in the middle of me going to the bathroom to change, she said, oh, you could just do it here. Like, I'm not stupid. Oh, okay. So I got changed in front of her. She saw how I basically got changed. And then she ended up telling me, oh my goodness, like you look so perfect. Like, look at you. As she came up really close to me to the point where I thought she was going to kiss me, but didn't. And at that point, I knew that our project was going to be embarrassing, but that wasn't even the most embarrassing part yet. What ends up happening next was honestly really just super bad. Because I remember the next day when I ended up going to school, I ended up basically telling my friends about how we literally didn't do the Devil's Tango. And all we did was basically do our project. And also I did tell them about the weird outfits. I ended up saying that she was wearing a corset to some of the guys in the group, and they all said to me, bro, no way, she's actually wearing a corset? Dude, that's fire. You know how nice those things are on girls? Yeah, now I do, is what I ended up telling him. And honestly, he was super excited for that class. I remember when lunchtime came around and the next class was social studies, everyone in the school was asking me, how did this corset look on this girl? Because for some reason, a lot of guys are into corsets for some reason on women. I ended up telling them all like, yo, just chillax. Like, it's not like that. Don't worry. It's just going to be a simple outfit and you're only going to see her wear it once. And then came the presentation. I remember me and her, we entered the classroom when the bell rang after lunch. And when we went there, we sat down and we did something insane. Where basically when we all sat down, I remember our teacher was like, okay, class, whose presentation do you want to see first? And instantly, right at that moment, everyone in the class rose their hand and said, oh, like, I want to like see Bubba's presentation. Great, thanks. At that moment, I did not want to do the presentation. I was already embarrassed enough, but I remember basically I ended up standing up and I basically went in front of the classroom. But before I did, I said, okay, we're gonna need like a couple minutes though, because I just need to quickly go change. And I remember everyone was like, yeah, you too, girl. As you know, the girl that basically was my partner in the project ended up standing up and going straight to the bathroom to get ready. I remember me and her, we went to the different bathrooms, we got changed, and we came out, and honestly, I looked so stupid. Knowing I wore that in school was embarrassing. But I remember me and her, we ended up going inside the socials classroom, and at that moment, every guy's eyes were just opened wide. Everyone was staring at her, and to the point where I wasn't even embarrassed anymore because no one was looking at me but the teacher. And I don't care about my teacher's opinion. Anyways, I remember me and her, we were giving the presentation, but to be honest, no one was focusing on the presentation. Everyone was just staring at her cherries that were literally about to pop. And I remember I was like, okay, let's just get this thing over with. And as I was giving the presentation, I remember I only did eye contact with my teacher that was sitting in the back of the classroom. From there, I remember I ended up saying to everyone, okay, and you can take the rest of the presentation, is what I said to my, partner. She ended up basically saying some words and stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, even I got distracted by looking at her cherries too. Like I said, cherries are also my kryptonite. And then I want to say this is the part where things got crazy. Because I remember out of nowhere, she ended up dropping this pen that she was kind of just using to fidget with. And also kind of like to point out the screen for when she was presenting. And I remember she ended up dropping it. And when she dropped it, she bent over to go get it. And when she bent over, this was the most funniest thing, but at the same time, craziest thing that ever happened, where a cherry ended up popping out of her corset. And it was just sticking out like udders on a cow. It was so unexpected and so random to the point where I remember seeing that, and at that moment I ended up looking around the classroom as it was popped out, and every guy was bricked. And I remember at that point I didn't know what to do. My teacher was like, okay, and as she was panicking and stuttering, I remember every guy was just like eyes wide open. Even one guy tried to pull out his phone and take a photo. At that point, I didn't know what to do. So me being the nice guy, I remember I actually ended up standing in front of her, and I ended up actually taking off my shirt in front of the class. Yeah, I know, super embarrassing, but yes, I basically took off my shirt and ended up covering her with the shirt that she gave me in the first place. She was super thankful, and then she ended up running out of the classroom to go back to her normal clothing. At that moment, every guy was super happy, but every guy was also mad at me because they were all asking me after class saying, Bro, why'd you do that? Like, seriously, bro. Like, you're trying to ruin it for everyone. But also, my teacher did give me an A for being such a nice guy. And yeah, overall, what I learned that day was never wear a corset. And also that, yeah, maybe don't wear embarrassing outfits during a school presentation as well. Okay, so this story does get intense. And believe me, I am really scared to tell the story because I feel like YouTube's gonna hate me for this. But honestly, YouTube, this is a good story and I'll try to censor it as much as possible. But today's story does get really insane. So make sure you guys do subscribe and also leave a like as well. Trust me, it helps a lot with this channel. And also join the Discord server down below. If you guys join the Discord server, you guys have the opportunity to tell your guys' crazy stories to me. And also follow me on Instagram because I'm literally the hottest guy on the planet that will literally do the devil's tango with every single one of your family members. Unless they're a guy. But anyways, guys, let's get straight into this crazy story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba and welcome back to another insane story. So like I said earlier, this is an intense story. And this all happens in my grade 11 year. So grade 11 for most high schoolers is kind of like the year where you guys just want to get your courses done, but at the same time it's a pain in the butt because courses are annoying as hell. And let's be real here, none of us like school. It's just common sense. I'm sorry, if you say you like school, you might have like some sort of a disability that I don't know about, but I don't think anyone likes school. Like, think about it, you're spending 12 years of your life having someone yell at you in front of a classroom and basically telling you what you're supposed to know at a young age going up to until you're an adult. It's ultimately silly, but going on. So back when I was in grade 11, I remember I had this class called language arts. Now language arts is called LA for short. I don't know why, it has nothing to do with Los Angeles, but basically language arts is where we learn, well, funny enough, we don't learn about anything about language or arts. We just kind of have fun and talk about life in a way, or talk about life expeditions that we want to do. I don't know, it's silly. Can someone down in the comments describe it for me? But going on, I remember back when I was in high school, that classroom was always considered the social classroom. We'd always have fun talking to each other, hanging out with each other. And I remember one time out of nowhere, there was a girl who transferred to our school and she was a really odd woman. I say woman because she seems really much older than what she actually was for her age, which is funny I say now because let's be real here, we have 12 years old girls that look like they're 20. But going on, I remember I was looking around and I saw her walk into the classroom and she's like, "Hi, my name is Jennifer and I'm from France." I guess she was from France, knowing that she just said that, but I basically was kind of weirded out. And apparently she like basically talked about herself in front of the classroom because our teacher wanted us to get to know her more. And let's just say she was a very interesting person because I remember during the presentation when she was talking about, you know, what she did back at home, she basically said something like this: "What many of you guys don't know is that I'm in the fashion industry and like I basically was doing adult filming." What? Adult filming? What? And then she said something about her parents, like, you know, not wanting her to do that and giving her a better life, so she ended up coming to Canada. I don't know, it was weird. Okay, I don't really want to get into her life story because this is about my story with her, but going on, I remember she ended up going to the back of the classroom and sitting in one of the back seats in the classroom, and honestly no one cares for those kids back there. And I remember over time she slowly moved her seat up in the classroom further and further to the point where everyone started to really like her in a way. I don't know why. First all the guys started to really like her, and then all the girls were kind of getting to like her but then disgusted by her over the weeks, until one time I remember a teacher came up to the front of the classroom saying, "All right guys, so today we're going to be doing a presentation on what you guys want to be in the future." I remember when she said that, I was basically thinking about what I want to do for my project, but then I ended up seeing everyone look at this girl that was a foreign exchange student, basically all of them staring at her going, "Are you gonna do what I think you're gonna do? Oh my gee, is she gonna do it? Oh my god, no way." Like they were all like really interested in what her project was about when in reality it was supposed to be about all of us. I was confused, so I remember I walked up to her, I'm like, "Hey, so like what are you doing for your project?" You know, trying to be nice to her because, you know, me and her barely talked. And she said, "Oh, like, you know, I'm gonna do what I'm best at in a way." Sure. So what are you best at is what I said to her. And she said, "Oh, like, you know," as she starts shaking her cherries back and forth. I don't know, it was something off straight up movie, I'm gonna be honest, from what I just saw there, but it was really weird. So I remember I just walked away and said, "All right." And I went back to my desk and started writing down how I want to be a YouTuber in the future. It's crazy how I wanted to be a YouTuber ever since I was born, and now that I'm actually one, it's pretty awesome. By the way, did I mention subscribe to the channel? Please do it. It's seriously worth it. Anyways, 3 days go by and it was the weekend. I remember all of us still had time to work on our projects, but it was due Monday morning. And basically, I remember I had time to finish my project, so I ended up hopping on Xbox with the boys to play some Black Ops 2. When I was talking to them, I remember one of them told me, "Yo, bro, did you see what that girl's doing for her project, dude? It's actually insane. She gave me a run through and it was the hottest thing ever." Hottest thing ever is what I asked him. Like, what do you mean hottest thing ever? And he told me, "Bro, trust me, tomorrow, try not to get bricked up. You know what I'm saying, bro?" What is what I said? I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, what does that mean? I was so confused, and at the same time I really wanted to know what was going on, but at the same time I didn't. But then afterwards I remember I really wanted to know, and me being curious about something really messes me me up in a way. Like, do you guys ever get curious about something and just need to know what it is, and you'll do basically anything to figure it out other than killing someone? Yeah, that was me. So I remember I ended up going on Instagram and basically finding her Instagram page, since all her classmates were already following her for some reason. And when I went through her Instagram page, I realized that she was, yeah, literally in the adult film industry. She was literally on the Devil's Hub. It was interesting. I ended up going on, you know, the Devil's Hub because she had it linked in her bio, and basically she was, yeah, there was everything. Okay, guys, there was literally everything. Like, there was more things than I realized once. And I remember I was freaking out, panicking, but at the same time kind of bricked. But I was panicking, and knowing this was in my classroom was insane. Obviously, I didn't do anything because, well, you know, touche, like, you know, two can play that game. Not saying I'm going to be in the adults industry, but, you know, whatever. Anyways, going on, I kind of just decided to forget about it and move on from it. But then I realized that I added her on Snapchat. Yes, I decided to add her on Snapchat because she was actually hot. Okay, I was in grade 11, and you guys already know I'm like the ultimate F-boy in my high school. Like, I had to know what was going on. So I ended up adding her. And when I added her, I remember I snapped her saying, yo, like, can I get a peek of that project? She ends up snapping me back saying, oh, you'll see it tomorrow. Don't worry, baba. And I'm like, all right, cool, I guess, because it was already Sunday. Anyways, the next day comes on, and I remember I end up going to school actually excited for the first time. I know, kind of crazy. And when I did, I remember we all basically went straight to the classroom, and when we got to the classroom, we all sat down excited for this presentation. I remember a teacher went in front of the classroom saying, all right, guys, so who's going to go first for what they want to be in the future presentation? And instantly, none of us put our hand up. None of us. Like, it was like a dead quiet zone. Like, no one was saying a word. So then out of nowhere, I remember there was a kid in the back of the classroom saying, the new girl will go first. Let her do it. She's hot. And everyone started laughing. And then the teacher goes, all right, well, would you like to go first? Yeah, sure. Why not? As she gets up and basically gets her set up ready for the presentation. All of us were excited, and I was actually pretty excited as well. We all didn't know what was going to happen. And then eventually, when she started her presentation, she started talking about the Devil's Hub and was literally showing pictures. My teacher was trying to stop the presentation saying, I don't think this is appropriate. But then one of the girls was like, excuse me, this is literally like the human body. It's literally a part of a science. Like, show respect to other people's human bodies. Like, pride. Let's go. I don't know. She was a part of the LGBTQ club, so I'm not going to say anything. And then I remember she's like, thank you. The girl that was showing the presentation about her being an adult filmmaker. And then after that, I remember there was a slide in the PowerPoint where it was literally just her cherries. Just out of nowhere, she literally just shows her cherries. And all the guys, I can 100% were bricked. I know two of them ended up going to the bathroom once they saw that. So I already knew what was going on down there, and I did not want to go to the bathroom. But I remember they were all basically bricked, and it was so funny because I remember I was looking at them like, holy cow, those are huge. Because she had huge cherries, okay, guys? She's like, it was ginormous. And basically, I remember one of the guys in the back of the classroom, again, the same guy that made the joke in the first part of the class, was like, those aren't yours. They're definitely fake. Prove it, wussy. Okay, is what she said afterwards. And she ended up literally flashing the whole classroom. She flashed everyone in the classroom with her cherries. Literally every single person in the classroom was flashed. It was crazy. All of us got to see those live in action in my grade 11 classroom language arts class. Insane. I know. I did not expect it. But then I remember my teacher, she ended up standing up saying, all right, that is the last straw. Go to the office right now. And basically she went to the office, and she, I guess, got suspended for a couple days, which is crazy to me, but honestly, it blew our minds. Knowing that just happened in our classroom was, well, I'm not gonna lie, pretty wild. Anyways, I remember like the next day I ended up snapping her, and me and her ended up meeting up and stuff. But you know what? That's all a story for another time. If you guys do want to know about that time, then I guess leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and follow me on Instagram saying we want more, because seriously, I read my Instagram comments. And also join the Discord server down below. That is when you guys get the latest updates early, like really early. Anyways, guys, like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. All right, peace out, guys. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie to you, I've had my fair share of babysitters, but one thing I will say is that this one specific babysitter I think was doing the most illegal thing that any babysitter could do. But before we get into the story, please make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. And on top of that, I know many times I've said that I would have a girl sitting behind me for one of the story times, but sadly I can't find a girl that wants to be behind me during a story time, or just in general being on camera. Don't get me wrong, I have a ton of girls coming to my place all the time, but none of them are willing to just sit behind a camera and just sit there. I'm not joking. The conversations I've had was the most weirdest thing ever, but we'll find one eventually. But as we're finding one, if this video hits over 2,000 likes, I will shave my beard for the next video. That way there's actually something looking forward to. And on top of that, I'm not gonna lie to you, I love my beard and I don't want to lose it. But if we get 2,000 likes on this video, I will shave it. Other than that, let's just jump straight into this insane story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to a really intense story. So today's story takes place back when I was 10 years old. And when I was 10 years old, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't like other kids. Yes, I was, you know, goofing around and, you know, basically not having having any responsibilities and just only caring about video games like most kids, but one thing I really did not care about was girls. And when I was 10 years old, for some reason, a lot of my friends were into girls, but I just wasn't. I didn't really care about girls at the time. I only cared about Pokemon, Call of Duty, you know, the more important things in life. But then I remember one time when I was in my school, I was sitting down in my classroom just playing with some blocks, I guess, or just writing something down. I'm not really sure. But I remember one time when I was sitting down in class in my elementary school, I was reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and my friend came up to me. Now, this friend that came up to me was actually 2 years older than me, but he was held back and ended up being in the same grade as me because, well, I guess he was just dumb. I don't know. I guess he's just stupid naturally. And he ended up coming up to me saying, "Are you playing the new game this weekend that's coming out?" Yeah, duh, is what I told him. And afterwards, we ended up making a plan for him to actually come over and play video games with me. Now, this was nothing new. Him coming over and playing video games with me was actually something that was really cool. And also, since he was older, a lot of kids in my grade actually kind of thought he was cool. I don't know why, because now I realize that he was really stupid, but I don't know. I was a kid. Everything seemed cool back then. Anyways, I remember we basically made a plan for the next day for him to come over and basically have a sleepover with me over the weekend. And his parents were cool with it. And I remember I ended up texting my parents on my iPod, and they were also cool with it. Yes, I had an iPod when I was in elementary school, okay? I wasn't rich. It's just my parents wanted me to have some form of communication with them. And also, it was an iPod, not a phone, okay? We're not going to talk about it, but going on with the story, I remember that same day on the way home when my dad picked me up from school, I ended up telling him about the plan of my friend coming over. He was totally cool with it, and he did not mind it, but then he also mentioned to me that, "Oh, Bubba, just a reminder, I'm going to be going to America this weekend, and I'm going to be going for a work trip, so I won't be here. And so will your mother will also be coming with me." Wait, if you or mom are not home, then who's going to take care of me? "Oh, don't worry, we'll have a babysitter for you." Now, when he said babysitter, I won't lie to you. Like, in the beginning of this video, I've had my fair share of babysitters. And even though people think babysitters are fun, let's just say all the babysitters that I've had different sorts of fun. And I'm talking about the Devil's Tango. You know, it wasn't no Nanny McPhee or, you know, Mary Poppins fun, like I wish it was. But I guess this was a different taste of things, I guess. But anyways, what ended up going on next was, well, let's just say very concerning. Because I remember when we got home, I was basically going up to my parents, basically complaining to them saying, "Why are we getting a babysitter? You know what? The friend that's coming over is older. He could take care of me." But my parents wouldn't budge. They were both very persistent and really wanted me to make sure that I had a babysitter. So me being upset, I ended up going up to my room, really upset and angry, and ended up going there and just sitting and playing Call of Duty. When I was sitting in my room playing Call of Duty with my headphones on, I remember I ended up hearing the doorbell ring, and instead of going downstairs to see who it was, I ended up basically sitting like on the top of the staircase, just waiting to see who it was. And I remember when my mom opened the door, we ended up seeing the babysitter. Now, this babysitter was actually like some basic 16-year-old girl. She was very nice and very simple. She had like, you know, brunette hair, I guess, or brown hair. I don't really remember, to be honest, because it was so long ago. But one thing I will say is that she was very young and still in high school. And I remember me, when I looked at her, the first thing I thought was, why in the world is this woman taking care of me? Now, you guys are probably wondering like, oh, like, weren't you attracted to her and stuff? And no, I wasn't. To be honest, I wasn't in the mood, or never have been actually, you know, bricked up before back then. Because if you guys did not know, the first time I actually got bricked up in my entire life was, well, in my middle school dance. And me, I was still in elementary school at this time. But going on with the story, I remember basically from there, my parents ended up interviewing her and stuff, and she got hired on the spot. And the reason for that is because my parents were literally leaving the next day, so it makes sense. I'm not gonna lie. And then one thing led to another. She ended up coming up to my room, introducing herself to me, and I just ended up basically like saying, "Hey, like, what's going on?" Me acting like the cool kid I was, and kept playing Call of Duty. Not even looking at her, nothing, because I could care less. And let's just say what ended up happening the next day was extremely illegal. Because I remember the next day, I ended up going to school, and right after school, me and my buddy ended up coming over straight back to my place for, you know, all the fun we were gonna have this weekend. And when I entered my house, I remember my buddy looks at me saying, "Yo, bro, where are your parents?" "Oh, my parents aren't here. A babysitter's gonna be here any minute now." "Wait, you have a babysitter? Bro, she's gonna ruin all the fun." "I know, man. That's what I said, but don't worry about it. Like, I don't think she'll be in the way." Little did I know, she was gonna be in the way. Because I remember 5 minutes after we got home, the babysitter ended up ringing the doorbell, and I answered it. When I answered it, she ended up saying hello to me, and I didn't care. I just straight up ignored her and ended up going up to my room with my friend and ended up playing video games. But as I was upstairs playing with my friend, I remember my friend looked at me saying, "Yo, bro, where's the babysitter? Is she here?" "Yeah, she's just downstairs making me a sandwich or something. I don't know, doing some woman stuff, I guess, in the kitchen." I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty based as a kid. I'm not gonna cap with you. But going on, I remember my friend ended up saying, "Oh, wait, a sandwich? Let's go downstairs. I want a sandwich." I was joking about the sandwich, but clearly he didn't get that joke. And we ended up basically going downstairs to see the babysitter. When we went downstairs, I remember remember we saw the babysitter in the kitchen just sitting on the counter on her phone. And when we went down the stairs, I remember I ended up basically walking down there saying, yo, what's going on, to the babysitter. And my friend ended up looking at her with his jaw dropped and basically, I don't know, I guess amazed. I'm not gonna lie, the last time I had his facial expression of going, I was looking at, you know, Grand Theft Auto's club that's in the game. Can I even say the strip word? I don't know. Going on, though, I remember basically he was basically aroused and amazed by this babysitter. And me, I could care less. And I remember one thing led to another. I basically told her to get up and make me a sandwich, and she ended up making me a sandwich. And as we were just sitting down eating our sandwiches, I remember my friend that was 2 years older than me told me, yo, bro, be nice to the babysitter, man. Like, she's kind of hot. What do you mean she's hot? She's just a girl, bro, is what I said afterwards. But then he ended up saying, nah, dude, like, you got a hot babysitter, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, damn. Me, I ended up just basically ignoring him and really couldn't care less about what he said. And I ended up basically taking my sandwich upstairs and went back to playing Call of Duty. As for my buddy, well, he didn't come up with me. He ended up actually staying downstairs and talking to the babysitter the whole time. Now, I'm not gonna lie, after 5 minutes, I could care less about my friend. But after 10 minutes, I was actually kind of concerned on why wasn't he coming upstairs? Wasn't he already bored about the girl? Like, wasn't she boring already? She must have been boring him, or maybe torturing him or something. At least that's what I thought when I was a kid. I remember I ended up going downstairs and going to the kitchen. And when I went to the kitchen, instead of walking in, I decided to basically hide behind the counter and basically started listening into their conversation. When I was listening, I remember my friend was talking about something with like cherries and stuff, and basically how he's never seen a pair of cherries. And me, in my mind, I was thinking, why would he want to see that? Like, my mom has a pair and it's not even that good. That's really weird. I don't know why I just said that, but mom, if you're watching this video, I apologize. I love you. Yeah, beautiful. Never mind. Okay. Oh my god, that's so awkward. Okay, going on though. I remember from there, I ended up basically sitting there really weirded out, and my face was just disgusted. I didn't know what to think or what to say. But then afterwards, I remember the girl that was my babysitter ended up saying, oh, like, would you like to see? Hell yeah, I would, is what my friend said. And from there, I remember I ended up looking up over the counter to see what was going on. And this girl ended up basically taking off her shirt and her, you know, cover up underwear thingy, bra, I guess we could say. And yeah, basically my friend ended up looking at a pair of cherries. That was really weird. And also, I mean, I also got to see it, not gonna lie, but it was I was really uncomfortable because I don't think I was supposed to see it, even though I was seeing it. But then he was supposed to see it, but he was 12 and she was 16. You know, it was a whole sorts of illegal. I remember from there though, I ended up standing up saying, what are you doing? And yeah, my friend ended up running up to me saying, bro, like, what are you doing? She's a hot babysitter showing her cherries, bro. Why are you complaining? I don't care about the cherries, but my parents are gonna care. And then that's when the babysitter ended up walking up to us saying, wait, what do you mean your parents are gonna care? Your parents won't find out. Just don't tell them. I'm not gonna tell them, but that will. And that's when I pointed at the security camera that was placed in my house to make sure I wasn't causing any havoc to the babysitter. Let's just say my parents ended up coming home a day early from the trip to America that time because I'm in Canada. And yeah, my babysitter got fired and also a really harsh talking to. But hey, I mean, I guess I saw cherries that time, so I wasn't really complaining, now was I? Anyways, guys, that is basically it for today's story. Leave a like, subscribe, and like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.